Hi, my name is Dharmendra Rai. I'm Mumbai's first mind map trainer, and welcome back to yet another session of Odyssey, my journey from super successful trainer to being a super successful trainer and a super successful author. The title of this video is Most Authors Are Useless. Now, why would an international best-selling author like me be uttering such a sacrilegious statement? I think most authors are useless because most authors are in one end of either of these two spectrums. One is they write stuff which is extremely complex. These authors are useless because one of the major reasons why people read books is because they think something is complex and they need somebody else to make it simple. So if you're going to give me complexity, I don't need you. There's enough complexity available for free and all around me. On the other end of the barbell is books that are terribly simplistic. I don't need somebody to tell me that if I want to become rich, then I have to earn a lot of money. And that's an absolutely stupid, simplistic thing to say. It's literally like saying, if you want to become rich, all you have to do is become rich. That's ridiculous. At the same time, there are authors who write this stuff, absolutely silly fluff, and they market it very well, and they manage to make a few bucks. Let's talk about the first type of author with an example. I have done close to 600 seminars in the last 10 years. About 400 of them are for mind mapping. The remaining 200 are for various topics, including invisible selling, that's behavioral economics and more, decision making, logic, investment planning, and plenty of other subjects. I keep receiving gifts from thankful audiences. And one of the gifts I got was a book by Amartya Sen. Since I really did not care too much about that book, I don't even remember the title of the book. I think it had justice in the title. Amartya Sen is a Nobel Prize winner in economics. Yet this book is one of the most useless books in my life. I read the first 3 pages. It was full of unmitigated nonsense in terms of something meaningful that could be communicated to me. And it's not like I'm an economics greenhorn. I have read lots of books on economics. I have done lots of trainings which take references of economics and of what's happening in a person's finances and a country's finances. But this book, or the first 3 pages at least, and I browsed through some other pages of the book as well, were full of big words and extremely complicated sentences. It's as if somebody was paying Amartya Sen to make his book as disgustingly complex and useless as possible by filling it with as much complexity as possible. So Amartya Sen may be great. He may have won a Nobel Prize. He might be a very smart guy. But is he a useful author? I don't think so. I think he's absolutely useless as an author. On the other hand, on the other end of the spectrum, there are simplistic authors like Rhonda Byrne. Rhonda Byrne, or Birne, however her name is pronounced, has written an extremely dangerous and simplistic book called The Secret. The premise of the book is that all you have to do to become successful is to think about success and think about possessions, and you get them. You want to be a prime minister, you want to be the president, you imagine yourself as a president, you visualize yourself as a prime minister, and you will become the president or a prime minister. You want somebody to give you a check of $1 trillion, all you have to do is make a check out to yourself in your name for $1 trillion, stick it on the ceiling, keep looking at it before going to sleep and after waking up, and soon you will get an SMS on your mobile which will say, Dear customer, we wish to advise you that your account number 183XXX has been credited with $1 trillion. And this is backed up by examples of a few people who received large amounts of money by using this stupid strategy. Now, maybe it's worked for 1 or 2 people out of 8 billion people on the planet, which is just a random thing that's happened. It is not statistically significant, and hence this book is absolute tripe. But it's marketed very well. It's great to people who are looking for a quick buck. Here's something that seems to tell you that you do not need to work hard, you don't need to use your brains, you don't need education, you don't need to really focus on anything much in a difficult way, and you can get a lot of money. It's a very seductive thing for people who are not educated or people who are lazy. But I presume since you are listening to my video, you are neither stupid nor uneducated. So if most authors in the world are useless, then how should you become a useful author? In one of my previous videos, I had said that you need 2 things if you want to become a great author. One is you need to have something of substance that you need to communicate. And point number 2 is you need passion. Now, what do I mean by substance? By substance, I mean you could have something original that you want to share. You've got original insights, you've done some original research, you've got some original conclusions. That is something valuable. If that information is helping humankind, move ahead. On the other hand, you might have information which is not original. You are extremely passionate about some strategies, some information that you've discovered, and you're eager to communicate this to the world, and others have not communicated it in an entertaining and simple way. There's a limit to how much things can be made entertaining, and there's a limit to how much things can be made simple, but there is a certain degree to which you can aspire to. So let me share with you some ways in which you can be an extremely useful author. The first point I want to talk about is simplicity. I mentioned that Amartya Sen's book was not simple at all, and hence it was useless for me. I added that book to my monthly Raddi, and I sold that book. I think I got about 10 rupees from that book, and I was happy. At least Amartya Sen helped me earn 10 rupees. Well, I would have preferred somebody like Daniel, really. He's helped me make substantially more money through his book, Predictably Irrational, which is on behavioral economics. So simplicity is extremely, extremely important. I have, in fact, done seminars where I've spoken in great lengths about the importance of simplicity, with lots of examples, with lots of stories, with lots of hard research to prove that simplicity makes a higher impact, makes you more money, and is one of the most important tools that you can have in your life. If you want to see the video, please look at the comment section. I've put it here in this YouTube channel and this YouTube chapter. There is a procedure called electromyography, and through electromyography, scientists have been able to see that people smile for a nanosecond. That's called a micro expression, an expression that just lasts a few nanoseconds, which the human eye normally cannot capture, and you need specialized cameras to capture that expression. So they've seen that when people are given passages to read that are easy, that are simple, they literally smile for a nanosecond. So simplicity literally makes people happier. There is this big myth that if you use some big words, you will be perceived as sophisticated and intelligent. A Stanford research says that is rubbish. If you use big words, in fact, you lose credibility. Maybe because people think if you're an expert, how come you're not able to explain your subject in a simpler way? Maybe you're trying to cover up for the fact that you're actually a fraud by using lots of complicated words and trying to win over an audience. So that's a myth. It's a myth that if you use large words, you will be perceived to be more credible. So to end this particular point. Don't use complicated words like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. They are antiquated and sesquipedalian. Let's move on to the next point, which is trailing the first point, and that's humor. I was attempting to use some humor in the previous point with the last statement. That statement by itself may not be very humorous, but if it's read in the context of the entire point, then the humor quotient is substantially higher. Use humor as much as possible. Living life is very, very difficult. And the easier you can make it in a way by using tools which only help you and don't have a negative side effect, the better your life is going to be, the better learning is going to be, the better reading is going to be, the better skill development is going to be. So use humor as much as possible in your books. I use this ending with a one-liner in my book, The Invisible Selling Book, which has been ranked by Amazon as among the top 100 best-selling ebooks on self-development. So that's where I am, in a way, structurally forced to use humor in each and every strategy of invisible selling that I'm suggesting in that book. Let's move on to tip number 3, use stories. Now, when I say stories, I don't mean you got to become a William Shakespeare. Using any tangible story, it could be a story that lasts for a few seconds, is extremely, extremely both extremely attractive to the audience, and it helps the audience to memorize your point and drive the strategy home. So in the Invisible Selling Book, when I'm talking about the concept of free, and again, you can read about all that. You can read about the entire strategy from my book for free. I've attached the link to Amazon, where you can read all my books for free in the comment section of this video. And one of the things I've mentioned about free is that when Amazon started free shipping, the sales increased drastically. Now that's just about 10 to 20 words, and it's a story, right? It's a story which takes a few seconds to narrate. At the same time, it suddenly made the concept of free, how you should use free as a business strategy, that thing has become tangible, and it's become interesting because everybody is interested in how Amazon does things. So if the story needs to be long, tell the story well and try to keep it short, but do not hesitate from using lots of short stories. Coming to the last point, use something called information mapping. This is distinct from mind mapping. Information mapping is where you're highlighting what is the information that you're giving to a person before he reads that information, so he's mentally prepared to read what is being offered. So if you look at the Thin Mind Map book, I have structured it. Each and every strategy of invisible selling, behavioral economics, and more is offered in an information mapped way. So it starts with either a quiz or a story. Then the actual strategy is revealed. Then there are examples, and whatever is being said is highlighted first. So it says quiz and then there's a quiz, or it says introduction to concept and then there's a story. Then it says this is the concept and then the concept is revealed. So people know exactly what they're going to read about when they read about it, and they don't read about anything else. It's segregated and mapped. This helps people to understand the information one thing at a time and leads to better understanding and memory. So this is an incredibly powerful concept. Information mapping is a technical term. There are people who are training on information mapping. There is software that's available on information mapping. I have no commercial link with information mapping or information mapping trainers. I just found the concept to be extremely, extremely interesting. So I used it, and I suggest everybody uses it. not just in books, but in emails and plenty of other methods of communication as well. So I trust you found this video useful. I'm going to come out with many such videos. My next video is going to be most publishers are useless. So if you think this was useful, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I would be grateful if you could also share and like and comment. Till we meet again, happy mind mapping.